Welcome. Welcome to the Home Office Talks. I'm still streaming from my home. Something back in March I would have not believed, but we got to take a situation, of course, as it comes. Today, the roles of office and home have reversed, really. So I go to the office every now and then, but spend most of my working time working from home. Kind of exactly the opposite before COVID-19. So it's still a strange situation. And I want to continue what we started out in March, also from home office, sharing relevant insights from home offices around the world, around the planet, on how to improve the world despite of the pandemic, sometimes also accelerated by the pandemic. This is a live broadcast, episode 14, I think, and you can watch all the previous episodes on YouTube. Also, as we are broadcasting live, you can ask live questions and participate in this episode. Just type in your comments or questions in the box below, and we'll pick them up towards the end. So I'm extremely delighted about today's topic, empowering girls for education. Today, the August the 12th, is also the International Youth Day, as declared by the UN. So we're celebrating young people's voices, actions, and initiatives. I'm honored to welcome Melissa Rancourt, founder of the Brussels-based Greenlight for Girls, to talk more about how she supports STEM activities just for girls all over the world. And of course, if you're wondering what STEM really stands for, as far as I can remember, it's science, technology, engineering, and maths. Also joining us is Dr. Pallavi Desmukh, a senior scientist at Covestro, Mumbai in India. And she has also a lot of personal experience educating girls in India. So Covestro and Greenlight for Girls first joined forces back in 2015 when we realized that educating girls was a priority for us in countries where we operate, and not only because there's a direct connection with educated girls and the health of our planet, and this is something we can learn from these experts as we go forward, but also because we want to see a higher percentage of women working for companies like ours in the future, in engineering and science-based roles. So let's open the lines to Mumbai and Brussels and see if we can get a good audio. Hey, Melissa and Pallavi.
Hello.
Hi.
Wonderful. We have good audio and good picture. Let's hope it stays that way and nobody's starting to play
Yes.
PlayStation and online services as we go. So Melissa and Pallavi, thanks you both for joining us today from Brussels and Mumbai respectively. I'll start with you, Melissa. The International Youth Day fits perfectly with the work you're doing around the world to provide hands-on science days for thousands of girls every year. So can you tell us a little bit more about Greenlight for Girls and what it stands for?
Absolutely. So Greenlight for Girls is an international nonprofit. We shorten that and say G for G to be short. But what we do is we do exactly what you mentioned. We are aiming to inspire the pursuit of STEM subjects and careers. And the way we do that is we love to bring science to life. And the way to do that is it needs to be hands-on. It needs to be interactive. And we need to see where we're connected to it and what it could bring for us and the society around us. And we work all around the world. We've had an opportunity to reach 48,000 children. And we've done that with 370 events. We are often traveling all the time to go from different parts of the world. And it's wonderful to see Pallavi here because going to India is one of our absolutely favorite places to go.
So that's I mean, the numbers you're talking sound incredibly big. And let's talk more about that later. Pallavi, a warm welcome to you too. And great to have Mumbai on Home Office Talks for the first time. So can you tell us how long you have worked at Covestro and also your involvement in the STEM education programs?
Yeah, hi Melissa, hi Nico. Thanks for inviting me on this World Youth Day. It has been really a wonderful journey in Covestro till now. With a strong academic background, holding a PhD degree in physical chemistry, I joined the Application Development Lab for Adhesive segment in CAS on September 2015. So to be precise, I'm as old as Covestro. So this wonderful journey made possible my association with STEM at Covestro. Now moving to Nico's second question regarding my involvement in STEM, I had been a part of STEM for Girls project in the year 2018. So during this, I visited 6 locations across India and interacted more than 3,000 girls. So it was very exciting and self-motivating to share my journey with these young girls and possibly inspire them to take STEM as a career.
And that's I've seen some of the YouTube videos of what you have done, Pallavi. It's very impressive. So if you Google Pallavi, you can find some really interesting features, and you can look how the work looks like. Melissa, you are, or at least you used to be, an event-based organization, and you got with your friends really hands dirty with experiments for girls all over the world. And I can imagine your packed schedule must have been truly rocked by the pandemic. So, Melissa, how have you coped with what you have put in place, and what have you kind of done to react to the changed circumstances where in many cases you are not able to go to even to school? And by the way, here in Germany, my daughter today had its first school day, and she was actually in school with lots of course, masks and distancing and everything. But so far, at least in Germany, it seems to be getting a little bit back to normal. But Melissa, how have you reacted to the situation?
Well, absolutely. I think with any industry, this is certainly something that's touched everybody's lives. And one thing is it forces us to look at things creatively. So what we do is still part of why we were created. So one of the things that sparked the creation of this is the fact that I'm an engineer, and I love being an engineer. And I've worked in many, many different industries and many different organizations. And because of my engineering background, it's given me so many opportunities. So over the years, seeing the decrease in statistics, or at best stagnant statistics in many fields, especially with women going into these fields, it really just, it sparked me to say, oh no, we need to do something about this. So that's how Greenlight for Girls was born. And it's still very much needed today. So for what we do, you can always find ways to impact people. So when one door is closed, you find a new opportunity. And that's exactly what the pandemic is providing us, right? Take a look at how to be creative. And what I think is key is something that I've learned by being part of lots of different situations in business for many, many years. We've all gone through the ups and the downs. And one thing that I've learned from this is don't react too quickly, in the sense of make sure that what you're doing is always linked to the purpose of why you're doing it. So instead of reacting just, quick, we need to do something, let's take a look and make sure that we're still doing this with the aim of our mission in mind. And that's exactly what we've done for Greenlight for Girls. So we took a look and said, all right, we know that we've had tremendous impact. In fact, 94% of the girls that go to any G4G event starts to take a look at how they can bring science and technology and engineering and math into their life and into their future. So we know we can do this. So being able to reach people just means that we need to reach them differently. So one of the things that we immediately put in place is similar to your home office talks. We put together a broadcast, and we identified amazing individuals like Pallavi to come forward and share their stories about their spark of why they're entering science. And in doing so, we engage lots of girls virtually. They're in the classroom, they're at home, they might be anywhere. And they ask the most brilliant questions. And we do experiments online. And this is just one of the many different things that we're doing. And what we're finding is that we're reaching more. And we're still connecting it to the face-to-face events, because they will happen. It's just a question of when.
And I think definitely sometimes, and I told you this before, when I kind of came back from a business trip and was kind of hit by the pandemic, I asked my 14-year-old daughter, what can we do? So sometimes the young girls are actually way ahead of many other people in terms of online, digital, also streaming topics, true experts. So if you have one living at your home, just ask your daughters. But let's talk a little bit about the statistics, Melissa, that you mentioned. We talk about the drop of girls entering STEM-based careers compared with the boys. How much is this currently a problem? Do you see any trends going up and down? And maybe, as you mentioned, do you believe that the pandemic would actually have a positive effect, or could it have a positive effect?
Yeah, the statistics are, I think, what drives us. It certainly drives me. When I was in engineering school, we used to measure by counting the number of women in class in the whole entire university. And I went to a very, very large university, and we could count them, sometimes on our hand.
Yeah.
And what I saw over the years is that in a lot of business meetings, you can still count the number of women in these fields. And we take a look at these statistics across the board. So in general, it's about 20% of women going into lots of different science and technology and engineering and mathematics fields. It can vary based on discipline, and there is some uptake, but it takes a village, as they say, right? So it takes a tremendous amount of work to change a culture, to change a mindset, to provide opportunity, and to provide an inclusive environment. So in many respects, in certain areas, we've seen a 1% increase from 2015 to 2018. So is it still an issue in 2020? Absolutely. But the work that we're doing together is making a difference. And for example, in G4G, we value the opportunity to work with wonderful organizations. Covestro is one. And these partnerships make it possible to reach more and more girls. So while I look at the general statistics, I'm actually more driven by the stories that come out, by the girls we know we're impacting, their families, the society, the community, the school systems. That's what drives us to go forward. And there isn't enough being done. We all need to do more, and we will make that difference.
Cool. And so let's go back to Pallavi, because you have been doing this for quite a bit. So can you tell us a little bit more about why you have been starting to promote education at Covestro? And maybe talk a little bit about some of the recent effects. I mean, if you think, I know you have been really active before March, but what's your take on the Corona effect?
Yeah, education plays an important role in everybody's life, and it's weapon to improve one's life. Now, education for a child begins at home, and it's a never-ending process. So it enables to express our views efficiently. Also, it provides the skill and confidence necessary for using technology as well. Then this is, when we talk, this is the broader perspective on education, but globally, girls have the equal right to be educated as boys. So educated girls can make informed choices and form a far better range of options. Educating girls saves lives and build stronger families, then communities and economies, as we consider women as an important pillar of our society. In fact, out of our 17 sustainable development goals, almost half of the goals, namely no poverty, zero hunger, good health, economic growth, and social engagement, could be achieved only if we educate girls. Now, Covestro is actively engaged in achieving sustainable development goals and is also running this STEM for Girls program in India enthusiastically. So this itself provides me an opportunity and a platform to interact with girls from different backgrounds, and also to motivate these girls to take STEM as a career. I'm happy that at least I could contribute in all possible ways towards achieving these goals. Now, coming to your second question, that is regarding what activities are we doing during this pandemic, then to be very frank, there is we are having a separate team for this who looks into the planning and execution of this program. So right now I won't be able to comment on that particular topic.
Yeah, and as we know, it's thank you, Pallavi. It's a difficult situation in India right now. So you are actually struggling with big challenges, and organizing these things is not something you can do in an instant. I'm glad you mentioned about the effect on world health, the climate change, but also many other aspects of measuring the health of the planet. I just saw some recent numbers from the UN where they said that if you are continuing to educate girls and giving girls, especially in some parts of the world, more equal footing, then the population of the planet would be able to go down sometimes in the 2060s or so. So because of the opportunities that are there. So I think there are some interesting correlations between educating girls and then what kind of positive developments you see that over the long term. And Melissa, let's talk a little bit about this, because climate change is something that has been connected with girls' education, but I'm not sure many people have such insight about the link of educating girls and reducing the core temperature of the Earth. So can you tell us a little bit more about Melissa based on your experience?
Absolutely. And Nico and also Pallavi, I think you touched upon all of that as well. But just to bring it together, for me, when I think of climate change, these are things that we know. Human activities are impacting the climate situation around us. The more we're educating ourselves, the more that we know that we can take actions to reduce the impact. And these actions can be done by an individual, a community, a nation, a group of nations, any number of different ways of doing that. But here's the dilemma. So we need more education to do this, and we need more humans engaged. So when we take a look at those two things together, we recognize that there's an opportunity here. Because if you take a look at a number of different things and throwing other statistics out there, for example, from the UN Women, women make up 2/3 of the world's 796 million illiterate people. In many rural areas, only 39% of the girls are going to school. And I love to get inspiration by others that are around us, especially the prominent others around us who are also advocates for this. So Michelle Obama says when girls are educated, their countries become stronger and more prosperous. And Emma Watson, she mentions women share this planet 50-50, and they're underrepresented and their potential astonishingly untapped. And I love this African proverb, to educate a woman is to educate a nation. So in taking a look at this, especially tying this together, Global Citizen reported that for every additional year of schooling a girl receives on average, their country's resilience to climate disasters can be expected to improve by 3.2 points. So the connection of education, the connection of educating everyone together, and then putting that together and showing and seeing what we can all do together. So for me, similar to the importance of learning and applying STEM to solve these monumental issues, developing new innovations that help people, dealing with the pandemic, addressing climate change. All of these are monumental challenges, but with all of them, we need everyone to be part of that equation. And we don't have that right now. And that's where we can make a difference. So that's what, for me, the connection between the two. Let's engage everyone.
Yeah. Thanks, Melissa. And I think you also outlined that there is a huge difference, geographical difference from different parts of the world, how this is being lived and what the opportunities are. Me coming from northern part of the world, Finland, where it's taken for granted that women have the same opportunities in many respects, also education. It may not be the same case if you go to some other place. So let's talk a little bit about the role of companies. And Pallavi, I won't ask you this because you work for Covestro. Let's ask Melissa. Melissa, what is the role of science-based companies like Covestro to promote the proper development?
Oh, it's instrumental. The resources, the education, the knowledge, the people, the impact that's possible. We need organizations, we need companies like Covestro to be part of the solution and to work to engage people, communities, other organizations to make a difference. So with our work with Covestro and with any of our partners, but particularly with Covestro, we love to connect our similar missions. We love to connect what drives us, what gives us purpose. So with Covestro, we look at what gives Covestro purpose as well. Quality education, reducing inequality, taking a look at gender balance, taking a look at all these things that have a positive impact to our society. And I absolutely love the moments that I get a chance to have, which is to work with the Covestro teams and say, what are we going to do together? And what parts of the world are we going to do it? And then come up with the creative solutions that have an impact to those around us.
Thanks, Melissa. And the next question actually is coming from that to Pallavi. Before I go there, let me remind the audience that you have the opportunity to ask live questions to these wonderful women who have an amazing insight into STEM education for girls, specifically in India, but also across the world. So type in your questions, put them in the box, and shoo them away so I can see them in my home office. So Pallavi, coming back to you. I mean, you are an accomplished scientist. You have a PhD in chemistry. So I think many people look up to you, definitely. So what advice would you give to a young girl who wants to work for a science-based company like Covestro in the future?
Yeah. I would advise I would advise girls to keep chasing their dreams and keep working towards overcoming whatever challenges they face to achieve their dreams. Now, if we see, life is full of challenges, and achieving your goals may not be as smooth as it seems, but the results are greatly satisfying. So everyone in life always needs a platform to prove themselves and express their views. So Covestro is the place where you get support and opportunities, where there is no gender discrimination. At Covestro, our culture, we have a very good culture. Our culture is to be first culture is colorful. That is, we have to be colorful so that we can grow professionally and to develop our skills by maintaining work-life balance. Second is to be curious to learn new things, and last but not the least, to be courageous to accept the challenges towards success. So girls, never give up, and best of luck for your future. Thank you.
Cool. That was great. Nicely said. Courageous and curious, and maybe colorful
Yes.
as well. And then we have the full list of values. So thanks both. Let's go to the questions. Let's see what we have here. We have a question from Veronica. And you should be able to see the question on your screen now. I will read it out loud. This is for Melissa. Melissa, what's your goal for girls' education, and how would you picture an ideal future for young, talented women?
The goal that I would have is that for any girl's education anywhere, is that she has the full support and understanding of the variety of directions that she can go into. And my hope is that with school systems especially, providing that well-rounded, and STEM is of course linked to everything, we can link everything together, but how do you have that well-rounded opportunity to explore so many things and be able to go in different directions? So the first goal would be is that girls have access to education. So we've enjoyed within G4G also to be able to do things even beyond events and beyond the activities that we have. We also have a scholarship for girls actually in India, so that girls who are living in very rural areas have access to education. From the younger side, also continuing through finishing university. And we have such amazing girls who've reached through that we've had the opportunity to provide. So that would be one thing. For the future, what I would love is, this is very visionary and it's connected to me personally. So as an engineer starting out and having that first job, I unfortunately had a first job where someone put a little thing in my mind which gave me a lack of confidence. And that is that in me being very ecstatic about getting my job in a manufacturing environment, someone turned to me and said, well, it must be nice to be a woman. So the thinking, or the thing that got into my head is, oh my God, did I get this job only because I'm a woman? Or did I get this job because I'm deserving of this job? So that would be my vision for that opportunity, is that you don't have that put into your head.
Yeah, I think that's nicely said. Let's go to the next question, which is for Pallavi. And let's get that question up on the screen. Pallavi, you now have a marketing role at Covestro. What made you opt for this rather than a research position, given your chemistry degree? What do you say, Pallavi?
Actually, I come from, as you know, that I have done my PhD, and of course, but still, I didn't go for the research because because there's what opportunity I got in Covestro. It was in technical services. Actually, it's not purely on marketing type, but here I work on technical services. So here I develop formulations for the local customers. So it is equally interesting, or we can say that it is also a research that we are doing, that how we can satisfy our customers with our local solutions. So it's one and the same, actually, to be precise.
Yeah. So you can apply your skills in many ways.
Yes, we can apply our skills. We have to have our broader thinking also, and it gives you to create new ideas. We also have means it's like everything is interesting. We have we work with the customer, we get their feedback, and accordingly we do the trials, and it's all linked with R&D itself. It could not be purely into some chemicals, but yes, we are always learning new things and developing new ideas, learning new things, developing new solutions for the customers.
Yeah, and maybe due to Corona, there are even more opportunities to rethink and apply the skills. We have an interesting question from Peter. Hi, Peter. Thanks for the question. I like this one. Let's go put it up on screen. I think this is something that you both can comment on. Just a second. Here we go. So Peter is asking, what advice and tools would you recommend helping parents to encourage their daughters to be guided towards upgraded education?
It's a great question. Yeah. Do you want me to dive in?
Please.
Okay. I think for me, it's inspiring what connects to someone. So I always try to take a look at what interests does a young child have, and how can I connect that to the future, and to demonstrate the more and more we build our skills, the more that possibilities are open. So I love the question that sometimes older kids will come to me and they'll say, hey, look, I'm deciding, should I be a musician or should I be an engineer? And I'm like, whoa, wait a second, why can't we do both? So for me, I take a look at what is preventing someone from thinking about where they want to go in the future, and how can you take a look at that? And then just seeing also the connection of what you can do with these skills. So the upgraded education particularly, so the more we get educated, the more possibilities that are out there, and the more that you get to work with amazing organizations, the more you get to be connected to society and to whatever's driving you forward. Like, I want to invent something, I want to solve a societal issue. These are things that need more and more education. So for me, it's finding the fun in all of that. So encouraging the fun. It's not so much focusing on school and having to be in a classroom, but more of what are the things that just engage us to want to learn, to be curious to learn. And then what will that keep us going to do more and more? And then with all of that, it's something we love to say at the end of every G4G activity or event, and that is anything is possible. And that links especially to what Pallavi was saying as well. So the more we educate ourselves, the more we open ourselves up to these possibilities, the more that anything is possible.
Thanks, Melissa. And Pallavi, I watched from your YouTube video your very touching story about your father. So your parents had an impact on you, but also you as a parent. What's your take? What is the role? What can parents do? Yeah,
parents can do a lot many things. That is, they are the first they are the first who are the role model of their kids. So I have two girls, and of course I am a role model for them, and they look towards me. In fact, to be we can change them, or we can make them a very good person. We can have a good scientist. We can have a very good we can develop them. Like, everything is in our hands. So parents play a very important role in their kids life, and they have to be a role model. So accordingly, we have to, it's our take, that is how we develop our kids, and what values do we inculcate in them. Yeah.
So you both definitely are role models, I think, and I hope many of the girls watching our stream can think, "Hey, guy, if look at what Melissa and Pallavi have been able to do and move things." I think that's great. I asked my 14-year-old daughter, "What's your take on science?" And she said, because I asked her, kind of. Because she's now going to 15 from 14, so is that kind of meaning you're kind of less interested in some of the scientific stuff? And she said, no way, I am still interested. So I think very, very good points from your side. The parents do have a role, and I think also role models have a role. That's why they're called role models. Cool. Thank you so much for your time having a chat about girl power. Those of us who live with girls and can make sure that we are promoting these girls from those things that we can do. I think that's great to see what Pallavi you have been doing, and I think it's a job for all of us. It's a job for the whole planet, because otherwise there is no planet if we don't take care of this. So, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much also to the audience for the questions. Until now. So, thanks again for joining the Home Office Talks, and thanks for the questions. We do have more guests lined up to talk about important topics just like this one today going forward. So please stay tuned for the next episodes that it looks like will be still streaming from home for the most part. As always, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye-bye.
Bye.